The 2015 Bio-Crystalline Shift. Archangel Metatron via Tiburon. Greetings Masters, I am Metatron, Angelic of Light, and we warmly greet each of you, knowingly, in a vector of unconditional love. I am joined in this session, by Ra Tiburon of the Pleiades, Tiburon of Crystalline Service. And so now another precious moment brings us together, uniting thoughts within the matrix of the unified field. Combining geometric thought patterns with desire, with awareness, and so do all things come together in this way. For all thoughts, all things, all beings are Christo-electromagnetic representations of consciousness, of manifestation, of all that ever was or ever will be. Dear ones, the changes taking place on the earth, are prompted by changes taking place in the cosmos. Every celestial body, every planet, star and moon in your galaxy are in harmonic symphony, in support of the Earth's planetary ascension. We have told you before that your religions have excluded the science, and that science has omitted the spiritual. In the new Earth the two must join in full circle. And so dear humans, the following channel, is teeming with elements of that termed the spiritual, and with that termed the scientific. We ask each of you to listen very carefully. And please do not assume that the scientific portions are beyond your grasp. For what we share is also communicated in the third language, and all contents of this message are coded in such a manner that even those of you who may not consider yourselves as academic or scientific, will in higher mind, understand on a spiritual level, exactly what is being shared. Your scientists are beginning to recognize that there is intelligent design in the cosmos, and your religious leaders are beginning to acknowledge that you are not alone. There are visionary academics and writers leading the way in revealing more to you about humanity's true origins and history. And we tell you removing the shadow is tantamount to achieving clarity and wisdom. The cosmos is shifting, physics are expanding. You are discovering that the laws of physics, which you thought were written in stone, are shifting and expanding. That expansion is multidimensionality. And moreover Masters, you are discovering that thought, divine thought is the creator of all that is. And that you are a part of that. Even the most die-hard mainstream scientific think tanks are being invaded by a younger generation of more diligent, unsuppressed researchers, who are aware that there is intelligence in the cosmos, in the changing order of physics. Not just in the realization that you are not alone, but in the knowledge that the creation around you could not be random. There is a guiding force in physics, an aware intelligence. We have told you before that certain of what you term angels are the holders of the laws of physics, and we tell you now, that everything in the cosmos is aware. The planets, stars, moons and even that which you term the void, is alive, conscious, aware and in support of humanity. The crystalline shift. Just as you are aware that magnetic portals exist on the planet Earth, collating the sun's massive energies, so are there crystalline portals that collate the crystalline coherency of plasma emissions and light waves. All forces that alter the Earth's electromagnetic and crystalline fields are also changing yours. The Saturn system is generating an accelerated coherency in the ascension of your Earth, for indeed the planetary ascension can truly be defined as the expansion of the Earth's dimensional matrix into higher fields of crystalline resonance. As such, the crystalline grid is absolutely receiving the crystalline codes from the Saturn system. The current, purposed, reactivation of the Saturnian system is again playing a major role in the shifts of the planet. Specifically in the environmental alterations and energy shifts that will code the crystal grid as well as the crystal sun disk within the crystal vortexes of Arkansas and Brazil. This synergizes symbiotically with the biological shifts in the human body into an opalescent crystal-silicon base. Silicon is the only element capable of replacing carbon, for only carbon and silicon have the valence points, and other attributes, needed to support human biology. This was indeed first surmised by Dr. Carl Sagan, and indeed he was an extraordinary visionary, a sacred scientist. And so indeed, your physical biology is shifting, and humanity is in the process now of transitioning to a silicon base, from the current carbon-based biology. Your Edgar Cayce spoke in his prolific readings of a new human body type emerging, after 1998, in the 21st century, and he was absolutely on track, absolutely right. The crystalline shift may be considered as the sixth, if the hybrid purifications of early Atlantean genetics are considered as the fifth physical format. Editor insert, from an article written and published by the prolific John Van Auken, quote, "The Mayan Aztec four suns or ages and the fifth age of movement correspond fairly well with the four body creations followed by a major change described by Edgar Cayce as he reads the Akashic records. He lists these ages in order as, first and second in Mu, or Lemuria, the motherland. The third in Atlantis, the fourth in Eden, and fifth the coming physical body change indicated in the story of Noah. In each of the first four creation periods Cayce identifies a new physicality of body type, or root race, as he called them. Then, the Noah period was the being of movement that would result in a new, fifth body type, or root race that is to appear during the early centuries of our present new millennium." Unquote. And dear humans, that is now taking place. And it is a logical correlation of crystalline physics, that the drivers of the human biological shift will be initially coded in the massive crystalline deposits on the Earth. Long ago the ancient mystery schools of Atlantis contained a highly adept section of the benevolent scientist priests of the Law of One, called the Atla-Ra. The Atla-Ra programmed crystals with light and sound frequencies. The crystals emitted a crystalhertzian vibration field that was extremely beneficial. These were used for balancing the human field, enhancing health, healing disease, and for awakening into higher dimension. Some were also able to open an interdimensional channel to other worlds and especially to the divine self. These were very special formats of optical clear quartz, formatted with concave and convex faceting in such a manner that enabled receival and condensation of light and sound waves in spectacular utility. These were termed as Master Phi crystals. These trained savants and the mystery schools of the Atla-Ra crystal specialist were based in what is now Arkansas and Brazil. Certain of the crystals so entrained are yet beneath these lands. Therefore, it is also logical that the crystal vortexes of Arkansas and Brazil will serve as the epicenters of the biological shift, in facilitating the DNA changes of transitioning human biology from carbon to silicon base. And dear ones, quartz is silicon-based. Quartz crystals are silicon dioxide receivers and transmitters. In 2012 the crystalline grid fully activated and has taken precedence. The magnetic grid has in a manner of speaking, diminished, designated to dimensions 1 through 3, as the crystalline grid operates fully in dimensions 5 through 12. Cryon of magnetic service channeled in 2002 that evidence of Atlantis existed in Arkansas. Our channel receiver, James Tiburon, attended the conference of that prolific channel. And that message served as a trigger for Tiburon of crystalline service to begin his work in earnest. James Tiburon was born and raised in Arkansas, and afterward lived 7 years among the crystals of Brazil. This was by design, for both Brazil and Arkansas were Atlantean. And Tiburon was in Atlantis as a scientist priest of the benevolent Law of One, of the Atla-Ra. His residence in Arkansas and Brazil awakened his knowledge, and the crystal codes are now within him, and indeed within many of you of the Law of One. Arkansas, because of its crystal deposits, was logically and absolutely an Atlantean colony. Crystals were seeded, programmed and coded. There remains in the vast chasms below the surface of Arkansas, ancient structures of the Atlantean era, yet to be found. These include a network of incredible tunnels, the remnants of a vast laboratory complex, and what may be termed a hyperdimensional transport station. The latter of these is still maintained by the Syrian Pleiadian Alliance. There are also ancient housing structures beneath the crystals of Arkansas, some of which remain inhabited by what is termed the blue-skinned race of Lemuria. So it is for the reasons we have explained, that the crystal transition of the planet and of humanity will first be received in plasmic and photonic-coded waves, in the crystalline regions of the Earth, from the Saturnian system. For those of you in the more populated northern hemisphere, the initial and primary receival will occur in the crystal vortex of the Ark, the sacred Ark termed as Arkansas, and for myriad reasons. Arkansas is embellished with a unique geology, containing quartz crystals, magnetite deposits, kimberlite diamond pipes, which is in fact the only deposit of true genuine diamonds in the lower 48 states, and unique, truly incredible, systems of living waters, a rare living water, unique thermal waters. Water containing a benevolent trace level of radium. And in addition, the geometrical vector, the placement of the Arkansas crystal deposits are perfectly centered, optimally situated to stellar and planetary alignments and for dissemination across the populated portions of the Earth. Over 2/3 of humanity live above the equator, and slightly less than 1/3 below the equator. Accordingly, Arkansas and Brazil are synergistically combined, to symbiotically receive, and be the transmission and distribution points for the crystalline shifts taking place both for the Earth, and for humanity. And in 2015, Masters, the shifts are only just beginning. For the transition of humanity into a new crystalline body will occur in this way, through Arkansas and Brazil, as the initial and primary receivers and transmitters of these crystal codes of human bioshift. These two power nodes receive the bioshift codes much more potently because quartz is an extraordinary crystalline receiver and transmitter. Arkansas and Brazil will receive, and then relay the bioshift crystal codes, to the other areas of the planet, in much the same manner as occurred on the crystalline grid activation that occurred on the 12-12-12. And indeed we will share with you later in this channel the secondary distributions points, and keep in mind that the two primaries, Arkansas and Brazil, relay to the secondary and tertiary, in such a manner that all that you term as power nodes, sacred sites, vortexal portals and grid points will indeed receive, and further disseminate the codes of shift. We have told you that the ley lines, axial tonal lines and mountain currents are upshifting into crystalline nature after the mega eclipses of April 2015. This was termed by the channel James Tiburon as the Colorado upshift, but indeed the upshift is global. Now in the final trimester of 2015, another set of mega eclipses occurs, and a timing of extreme coding takes place between the autumn equinox and winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. Accordingly, in November 2015 occurs the activation apex of the biocrystal codes, and this is due to no small extent, by a very unique astrology, an energetic frequential cocktail of rare-coded astronomical gravity patterns. Patterns that are potently amplified by 7 meteors, all spawned of comets. These are indeed crystalline energy carriers that will bathe the crystal vortexes in the coded crystalline waves from the human bioshift. We tell you there are massive crystals beneath the lands of Arkansas, some of which are of incredible size. These absolutely are beneath the lands of Arkansas, and are utterly astonishing energies. And these master crystals were coded by the Atlantean Atla-Ra, the benevolent scientist priests. These master crystals are awakened and are now active, after over 12,000 years of planned dormancy. Accordingly, because Arkansas and Brazil are not only the largest vectors of quartz crystal on your Earth, but also because Arkansas and Brazil each contain what may be termed as seeded, coded and specifically placed master crystals, within a very unique geological matrix. There is science, a pure logic in this process. There is a master design taking place, and it absolutely can be understood. It makes sense. It makes sense to you, because many of you, in fact over 90% of you presently on the Earth, were in Atlantis. At that time, you understood the mechanics, and the amazing attributes of crystals. So you have indeed been here before, and it resonates. And it feels right, does it not? It is precisely why many of the northern hemisphere will be drawn to Arkansas, and of the southern to Brazil. To pilgrimage, to receive the codes of the shift. For being within the Bio-Crystalline Hertzian fields of these energies and within the resonance of these living crystals is of great benefit at this time. For being within these crystalline coded energies and frequencies you receive the codes of bio-shift in a direct, concentrated resonance that quickens the DNA shift. This occurs on both a collective and individual scale, for many of you drawn are carriers of these codes. It is why we have directed Tiburon to gather the Law of One in the Arkansas Crystal Vortex in November of 2015. There is a succinct apex alignment, and many of you called will be anchored and transformed, and you will not only be shifted, but be a carrier of the shift codes. Law of One Arcturian Crystal Masters. Although the incredible crystals beneath the lands of Arkansas were dormant for over 12,000 years, we tell you that they have awakened. And within the next 23 years this energy will surge in synergy with plan coding upshifts. And masters, after 2038 Arkansas will be globally recognized for its unusual and brilliant crystalline energy. Many master souls of the Atla-Ra and indeed masters of the Syrian Pleiadian alliance will purposefully choose to reincarnate in the crystal vortexes of both Arkansas and Brazil, and in fact have begun doing so now. These are the Law of One, Arcturian Crystal Masters, and Arkansas and Brazil are drawing them in the thousands. They are specialists in crystalline technology and will innately understand the importance of these two regions, and will thrive within, and play leading roles in the appropriate utilization of these potent energies of the Arkansas and Brazilian crystal vortexes. By the 23rd century, magnificent crystalline temples will have been built around the Cristo Sun disk of Pinnacle Mountain, and the temple crystal locations of Mount Magi, Wilhelmina, Hot Springs and Eureka Springs. And while 3 centuries may seem a long time to you, it is but a flash from your nonlinear aspect. Indeed many tens of thousands of you of the Law of One, including the channel, will specifically reincarnate in that period, 15 of your generations from now. In so doing the frequency of these two areas will dramatically shift, benevolently transform, and these will become recognized for their succinct specialized energies. The Arkansas, Brazil synergy and the Brazilian crystal vortex. Now we wish to mention the importance of the Brazilian crystal vortex located near São Tomás de Letras in Minas Gerais. Indeed it is as important to the southern hemisphere of the planet, as is Arkansas to the northern counterpart. The two representing the most powerful crystal frequency on the Earth. Both containing enormous crystal deposits. The reason the Arkansas crystal vortex is considered more influential is because 2/3 of the Earth's land, and 2/3 of humanity are in the areas above the equator, the northern hemisphere. But be aware that the two crystal vortexes, Arkansas and Brazil, are in correlated spin-counter-spin mode, and are necessarily counterbalances for the dissemination of the telluric portion of the crystal frequency. For these are indeed unquestionably the two most important crystalline centers on the Earth, and this energy is incredibly potent, magnificently aware. And at this juncture in our channel, we provide the symmetry, for we tell you again, and emphasize, that the Saturnian system, as we have told you before, plays a major role in the crystal coding of 2015 and beyond into 2038. The codes are received from Tula, the great central sun, to Arcturus, and forward via Iapetus into the Saturnian system, and disseminated to your solar system and the Earth, and thus humanity. The Casey readings state that humans will begin shifting into a new body type in the new millennia, beginning after 1998. And we tell you in 2015 the shift codes are received in Arkansas. End of Part 1. The second and third portions of this 3-part channel will be made available very soon on the Earth Keeper website and by video.